The chair had always belonged to my husband, not officially. It wasn't expensive. It wasn't antique. It was just his chair. The one in the corner of the living room. The one closest to the lamp. The one where he drank his coffee every morning. Read books on Sunday afternoons. Watched football every fall. Everyone in our family knew it. Even our 7-year-old daughter. Especially our dog. Nobody sat there. Not unless Nathan was gone. So when another man walked into my house, looked around, and casually lowered himself into that chair without asking, I felt my stomach drop. Then my husband quietly asked, "Comfortable?" And I knew. It was over. People think getting caught happens because of evidence. A text message, a hotel receipt, a forgotten earring. Mine happened because another man forgot there are some places in a home that belong to someone else. My name is Sarah. My husband's name was Nathan. The man I betrayed him with was Cole. Cole and I met after my company hired his landscaping business to redesign the office courtyard. At first, we only talked about flowers, shrubs, budgets, outdoor lighting. Then one afternoon, he asked if I wanted to grab lunch after a meeting. I said yes. Lunch became dinner. Dinner became long evenings. Eventually, it became something I convinced myself wasn't hurting anyone. Nathan traveled constantly for work, usually 3 nights every week, sometimes longer. For months, Cole never came to the house. We agreed that was too dangerous. Then our deck railing came loose. Nathan was out of town. Cole offered to repair it. It'll only take an hour. It took an hour. Then we shared lunch on the patio. Then another repair came up. Then another. Eventually, coming over became easier than meeting somewhere else. He fixed the loose cabinet door, replaced the smoke detector batteries, hung new shelves in the laundry room. Little by little, he stopped asking permission. Mind if I grab a water? Eventually, he knew where the glasses were. Where do you keep the screwdriver? He stopped asking. The house became familiar. Too familiar. One Saturday, Nathan surprised me. His conference ended a day early. I invited a few people over to celebrate. Neighbors, his brother, a couple from church. The house filled with laughter, music, the smell of burgers on the grill. I texted Cole immediately. Don't come today. No reply. My stomach tightened. About 30 minutes later, the doorbell rang. Cole stood on the porch, holding a small package. I ordered the replacement hinge. I figured I'd drop it off. He looked past me, saw everyone inside. His smile disappeared. Nathan walked over. Who's this? I forced a smile. Cole. He helped repair the deck. Nathan reached out his hand. Thanks for saving me a weekend. Cole shook it. My pleasure. Nathan smiled warmly. Come in. Everything still felt manageable. People talked. Children played in the backyard. Someone turned on the baseball game. Cole stayed near the kitchen, trying to disappear. I thought we'd survive it. Then halftime started. Nathan went outside to help flip burgers. Everyone else wandered around the house looking for drinks. Cole walked into the living room, looked around. Without thinking, he sat down. Not on the couch, not on the love seat. He sat in Nathan's chair, the leather recliner. He leaned back, reached for the remote, crossed one ankle over his knee. Exactly the way Nathan always did. Not because he was trying to make a statement, because that's where he always sat when Nathan wasn't home. When Nathan came back inside carrying a plate of burgers, he stopped walking. He looked at Cole, then at the chair. A tiny smile crossed his face. Comfortable? Cole immediately stood up. Oh. Sorry. I wasn't thinking. Nathan nodded. I know. That answer terrified me. The afternoon continued. People laughed, ate, watched baseball. Nathan never mentioned the chair again. Not until everyone left. The dishes were washed. The grill cooled outside. The house finally became quiet. Nathan carried 2 coffee mugs into the living room. He handed one to me, sat on the couch instead of his chair, then quietly asked, "When did it start?" There wasn't any point lying anymore. 15 months. He nodded. I figured. I stared at him. When did you know? He looked at the empty recliner. About 9 months ago. 9 months. 9 months of birthdays, movie nights, Christmas morning, family vacations. 9 months of him already knowing. Every memory changed. The patience, the kindness, the calm. I noticed repairs, he said softly. The deck, the shelves, the cabinet. I knew someone had been here. He smiled sadly. I just didn't know. He'd made himself comfortable. The tears finally came. I'm sorry. I know. He disappeared into his office, returned carrying a large envelope. Divorce papers, already signed, already dated, already waiting. He placed them on the coffee table, right beside the recliner. Then he looked at the chair one last time. You know what hurt the most? I shook my head. It wasn't that another man came into my house. A long silence. It was that he instinctively chose my seat. I frowned through tears. What difference does that make? Nathan smiled sadly. Guests look for an empty place to sit. He glanced at the recliner. People who feel at home. Sit where they're most comfortable. The words hollowed me out. Because he was right. Cole hadn't sat there to challenge Nathan. He hadn't done it to be disrespectful. He'd done it because somewhere along the way, that chair had quietly become part of his routine too. Nathan stood, picked up his coffee. Every family has invisible rules. Another long silence. Our daughter knew not to sit there. The dog knew not to sit there. He looked at me. But somehow, the only person who didn't was the man sleeping with my wife. He walked upstairs, leaving me alone in the living room. I sat there until long after midnight, looking at the empty leather recliner. For years, I'd thought it was just furniture, a comfortable place to drink coffee, watch television, read a book. I never realized what it actually represented. It wasn't Nathan's chair because he bought it. It was his chair because every member of our family respected that it belonged to him. Everyone, except the man I'd invited into our lives. Years later, I barely remember the arguments. I barely remember signing the divorce papers. And I barely remember the last conversation I ever had with Cole. But I still remember watching him lower himself into that recliner, without the slightest hesitation. And in that single ordinary moment, my husband realized something I had refused to see. The greatest betrayal wasn't that another man had entered our home. It was that he'd become comfortable enough to forget whose place it really was.